What's up guys, Trizzle Trey with TrizzTech&Electronix, and in today's video I'm bringing you guys my full review of Google's 2012 flagship handset, the Nexus 4. Now as you guys know, I did say that I wanted to have this full review video up before the end of 2012. I had a few things pop up in my personal life that kept me from doing that. As you guys saw, I had a bunch of content of the Nexus 4 pop up over the last week or so, and I wanted to end with the review before the year ended. I didn't get to do that, so I'm going to bring it to you here at the beginning of the year here. As you guys know, Gadgets Boy and I are hosting a Nexus 4 giveaway. The annotation will be sitting right here in the corner to get involved in that giveaway if you have not done so yet. That giveaway will be ending on Friday, January 4th, so it's just a couple of days away from right now. So I do want you guys to get involved if you have not already. Now with that said, let's get into this review video. There are a few things that I really do love about this device, and there are a few things that I don't like so much about this device. Now I'm going to start off with the cons, the low points of the device, so that we can end on a high point with the pros of this device. So to start with the biggest downfall of this device that I have gone through so far in the last 3 weeks that I have been reviewing this device. I do think that after the 3 weeks that I've been using this, that I know this device pretty well inside and out. I've had pretty much any ups or highs or lows that could happen with this device over a 3-week period. I think that that was a very fair amount of time to give my honest, down-to-earth review. But the biggest downfall was battery life. Man, I was using this every day as my daily driver and have been for the last 3 weeks, as I said, and this thing wouldn't make it halfway through a day. By about 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon, the thing's dead. I'm plugging it into a charger, which isn't too bad when I'm around the office all day and I'm doing work, but when I'm out and about, that really sucks. It's a very, very big downfall, in my opinion, with this device. I really am not thrilled with that. I think the highest rate of screen on time that I've had over the last 3-week period was about 2 hours and some change, and that is it. That is absolutely just horrific. I mean, the battery life of my iPhone 5 is not very good, but it at least makes it all the way through the day where I'm not plugging in until about 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So it definitely makes it all the way through the day. This thing, not so much. By 9 or 10 at night, I'm plugging it in for the second time. So it's, I don't know, that was my biggest downfall of this device, was its battery life. That 2100 milliamp hour battery I thought was going to be more than sufficient for this device, and was I dead wrong? Because it most definitely is not enough. So that's my biggest downfall. Now, another downfall, as you guys saw in a video that I posted a few days ago in a Wi-Fi comparison between this phone and the iPhone 5, was the Wi-Fi bug that I'm having with this, where after the Wi-Fi has been connected for a considerable amount of time, it just drops off. I mean, as you saw in that video, I was getting as low as 4 megabits a second down and about the same up, which the upload speed at 4 I'm not too worried about so much. That's okay. You know, I only get about 7 or 8 at the higher end in my office, so 4 is not so bad for my phone, but that 4 down is just ridiculous. It should be around 30 or 35, whereas you saw that with the iPhone 5, and then you saw this after I did the quick little restart of Wi-Fi. It kicked up to 35 down and 10 up, which is the highest I've ever had any device on my Wi-Fi. So I don't know what it is with that. I am convinced that it is a software issue, though. I think that if it was a hardware problem, and much more people would be suffering from it. The same thing with the software. I have been on a few Android blogs and forums, and a considerable amount of people have been dealing with the same problem. I really think it's software related, given that I can go into Wi-Fi, flick it off and back on, and the problem's fixed, at least for a little while, and then it does gradually sneak back up, which is kind of blows my mind. I have noticed that if I'm away from the office all day and it's on mobile all day long, and then it comes back to Wi-Fi, it doesn't affect it so much. So I really do think that it's a software problem, and with the 4.0.2 update to come here in the very not so distant future, I really do hope it will fix that problem. Now, the other thing that a lot of people have bitched about ever since the release of the Nexus 4 is the lack of LTE. Now, this really does affect me because I do live in a very rural mountain place, and the HSPA Plus network is just non-existent here. I have my Nexus 4 set up on T-Mobile, and it just sucks. I don't get service very well here at all. In the bigger cities, though, it's not so bad. Just recently, within the last week or so, I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico. That is the biggest city in New Mexico. Had it hooked to the HSPA Plus, obviously. Ran some speedtest.net tests of it, and it was getting as high as 15 megabits down and about 4 or 5 up, which is decent. I mean, that's good for a mobile speed. So I do think that if I lived in a bigger city, it probably wouldn't bother me quite as much as it does by me living in a much more rural community. I mean, Verizon's LTE just rolled out here within the last month and a half or so, and I absolutely love the LTE here now. It's amazing that my iPhone picks that up. So that is a big downfall for me because the service is just so crappy here. I do think if I lived in a bigger place, that wouldn't be such a problem. Now, one other thing that I have to complain about this device is the rear-facing camera. Now, I do not think that it steps up to the quality of devices such as the iPhone 5 or the Galaxy S3 or the Galaxy Note 2, given the fact that they are the same camera in each, and especially the Nokia Lumia 920. That thing obviously has the best camera on the market right now. It just doesn't work real well. As you're seeing with the pictures on screen right now, in low light conditions, it's just absolutely horrible. And in the higher light conditions and stuff, or whatever, the flash kind of takes over and kind of blurs it out. Just does not look crisp to me as my iPhone 5 camera does. It pretty much pushes out decent pictures every time that I take them. The other issue I have with the rear-facing camera is in video. I don't like that it doesn't have a tap the screen to autofocus. It does autofocus, but it takes a minute and it does it all on its own. You can't just tap the screen to autofocus, which I think is a pretty big deal. I really like doing that with my iPhone 5 when I'm videotaping something, and you can just tap the screen and it brings it into focus. I do wish that the Nexus 4 allowed for that as well. But other than that, the video quality is very good, so it's not a huge thing to complain about. But I do not think that the 8 megapixel sensor in this Nexus 4 takes very high quality photos. I mean, it's decent for a smartphone, I guess, but it just doesn't quite mount up to the leading competitors such as the iPhone 5 and the Galaxy S3, Lumia 920, things of that nature. So that pretty much does it for all of the cons here. There aren't that many. Some of them are kind of a drag, but there aren't that many. There definitely are a whole lot more pros, which is what we're going to talk about now. Now, I absolutely love Android 4.2 Jelly Bean. I think it's absolutely awesome. As you guys know, I am an iOS user. I use my iPhone 5 as my daily driver, which I really do like that because, as you can see, I have a closed-in Apple ecosystem for work and for YouTube. So it is nice for me to use the iPhone because it can tap into that ecosystem much easier than the Android can. But with that said, I absolutely love the Nexus experience. It really is the only way I will do Android, and I think you guys have heard me say that in previous videos. I really do love the stock vanilla Android experience. I like it. It's just the way that Google intended Android to be. There are no skins as HTC Sense or Samsung's TouchWiz or Moto Blur from Motorola. I just absolutely love that there is none of that. It is the stock vanilla, just the way Google intended it to be. And 4.2 with Project Butter is no slouch. It's absolutely awesome. It is the fastest, most snappy device I have ever used or reviewed or anything. It is the fastest phone I have ever used. That Snapdragon S4 Pro 1.5 quad-core is just a beast. The fastest phone I have ever even played with, let alone reviewed. The 1280 by 768 IPS display with the 320 ppi is absolutely amazing. As you guys saw it on video in my past videos, and you're probably seeing it now, it is absolutely so snappy, so beautiful, so gorgeous. I love the display. It is very, very good. Blacks look black, colors look colorful. Really do love this IPS display. Much better than the AMOLED HD display that was in the Samsung Galaxy Nexus. It is a lot better, this IPS display. I really do love the build quality of this phone. It is some of the best I've used. It fits absolutely perfect in my hand. It feels so good. I wasn't sure I was going to like the glass front and back similar to the iPhone 4S. I absolutely hated that on the iPhone 4 and 4S. But actually on this, with the bigger form factor, it actually feels really good. Especially with the rubber going around the outsides of the device, making it anti-slip. I really do like that. I hated the way the iPhone 4 and 4S felt. I had to put a case on that. I absolutely hated that phone naked. This one, I absolutely love. It feels so good in my hand. You know, the iPhone 5 doesn't feel very good in my hand either naked because it's just too thin for the size of my hands. It's just too narrow. But with this, it feels absolutely wonderful. Love the way it feels. It's just the perfect size in my opinion. Now, talking down to what this thing really is, it is a phone. Call quality with this, some people have had some very big issues with it, hearing muffled sounds from other people talking to them. They can't hear them very well, it sounds muffled, and then they sound muffled to other people on the other end. I have not experienced that at all. Everybody that I talk to comes through just perfectly clear, and I hear and people have told me that I sound perfectly fine to them on the other end. So call quality is very well. It works good for me. I haven't had any kind of issue with that at all. One other downside, which I forgot to talk about in the cons, is the size of the very small speaker bar. I don't like it, and I think it's in a very bad place. You can cover it up very easy. Not very good for watching movies or listening to music. But then again, it's very simple to just snap in some headphones, and there you go. And I actually like that this has the headphone slot at the top of the device instead of how the iPhone 5 moved it to the bottom. I think that's pretty cool that it is on the top. That basically does it. I mean, I absolutely do really like this device. For somebody in a bigger city, I think that this is the go-to Android for anybody that isn't on the Verizon network and that, you know, has a much broader service area where I don't have that where I live. In the metropolises or bigger cities, I think that this is the best phone on the market right now, and I definitely do recommend it to those people. Now, people in a much more rural community, I don't recommend it so much. It is not easy to hold service. This HSPA Plus just does not work. In the rural, mountainous areas, such as where I live, it just doesn't work. So I do recommend it to some, not to all. I do think that it is the snappiest phone I've ever used, so I do like that. The battery life was absolute crap. I don't like that, so don't think you're going to be able to depend on that too much. But the phone itself is a high-quality product, so it is for some, not for all. I do hope that you guys enjoyed this video and that it was informative. That was my personal review of the Google Nexus 4. Definitely hit that like button if you did enjoy it. Definitely don't forget to join Gadgets Boy and mine Nexus 4 giveaway, as I stated with that annotation in the top corner. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.